finally got this diagnosis in July. You're better, and do you return to normal life? Get back to work at this point? Like, what's going on?
My grandma had just passed away
Oh,
in June. So this is crazy. I'm making this part quick. I had the brain surgery. 2 months later, my uncle passes away.
mm,
Um, and then 2 months after that, which is June. So April, my uncle passes away. June, 2 months later, my grandma passes away. And my grandma was sincerely like my best friend in the world. Like she was like the person that meant most to me in my life. I
sure,
would dare say even more than like Vicky. So it just life happened. She's 92 years old, and I accepted what happened.
sure.
And then I'm going to get my treatment for the first time. And Ocrevus, it's split apart 2 weeks. So it's one dose, and then 2 weeks later you come in for the second part of the dose. So I get the first dose, and then a few days before my second dose, I'm driving with Vicky because we're about to get like a new car or something, and they just call and they say that my dad had a stroke, and this was in August.
Jesus,
So I'm like, oh well, like let's do the
let's
what's
do
the
this
next
thing.
step?
Yeah.
What's the next step? Um, so my dad, unfortunately, he passed away within like 2 weeks of the stroke. It was like a really severe hemorrhagic stroke, and
Very
he
sad.
got he wasn't there mentally. Like he was already as soon as the stroke happened, like it was it. He was like gone.
Mm,
But that was really heavy. That was like I'm in the middle of getting my treatment. I'm in the middle of trying to figure out my life with MS. My this is different. This is not normal life anymore. And then people around me are just dropping like flies.
yeah.
And I don't know if you noticed, but I haven't talked about COVID or the pandemic
No,
whatsoever.
right. And I haven't brought it up either, just because stories about you, but you're in the middle of a pandemic right now.
So I'm not even thinking about that. That's not even
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Not even from the forefront of your mind.
it's like, and it's kind of funny because like I see people like complaining online about it, like, oh COVID, oh pandemic, oh
Let
my
me
life
tell
is
you about my 2020.
it's like, and but I don't want to play those games either because everyone struggles their own, and just
Hmm.
because my struggle seems worse doesn't mean it's all how we perceive our lives. um so I don't get offended or anything either. Like I start thinking about part of what has gotten me through this is I used to volunteer at Miami Children's Hospital, which is now called Nick Klaus Children's Hospital, and I used to be a bedside buddy. So I would play with the kids, like bedside buddy. Essentially, that's what it was. I was their bedside buddy.
Wow.
I'd bring carts of toys and stuff, and to play with them, or sometimes help with their homework, things like that. And my all kinds of things, like from foot surgery to they got something not too crazy to oncology. And the oncology unit was the unit that I like to think that I spent the most time in. And it was just this is way before like anything happened to Johnny. Like this was Johnny in university. This is me like taking 17 credits a semester type of Johnny.
Hmm.
Hyper focused also in school. And you got these kids that they're like dying of brain cancer, dying of all kinds of cancers at the age of 4, 3, 5 years old, 10 years old. And they were the happiest kids in the hospital.
Man.
And that to me was like just I get goosebumps just thinking about it.
Yeah.
Like I'll play with these kids, and it was as if life was just this is the moment. Like you're not thinking about tomorrow, really.
Do you feel like that
Um,
prepared you for everything that happened last year?
Absolutely. Like I still say to this day that like the only way I've been able to keep my chin up is like these kids that are no longer with us in
Mm,
this moment. They're like holding me up, like, hey, keep your head up. Like it'll get better. Like that's what keeps me going in a more positive light,
yeah.
considering everything that's unfolded. Um, so that really like I think played a major role in my like character development and stuff
Yeah.
and
Absolutely.
experiencing things and like reacting to things. I'm much more proactive than reactive, I like to think.
Hmm.
Um, so those kids really did help me out. And they're not even here with us anymore, most of
Yeah.
them. There was twins one time that they both had cancer. Like imagine like having kids that are twins, they both have cancer.
No.
And I walked into the room one day and one of the twins wasn't there anymore. And that's like I can't fathom what it's like for a parent to go through that.
Yeah. I can't.
Like that's just
Yeah, I mean it's a super uneasy feeling, and even for people who don't have kids and don't know what it feels like, it's still a very unsettling feeling to internalize and to think that. I mean, it's just because it's so innocent, you know. It's like if you, like you said, when you were in the hospital in the ICU and you see all those people who are in their 70s and they've had their lives and then they had brain surgery, and not that you don't feel as bad for them, but it's, you know, at least they lived their life partially. But then you see these kids and, you know, they haven't gone through anything yet, and all they know is hospitals. It's like it's just it's tough to see.
Yes. So I think about those parents, and the news I got is probably nothing compared to the news that they got.
Sure.
Um, so I think about those things, and I don't want to say that I like to compare different struggles, but I'm aware that things could always be worse.
Yeah.
So I try to turn anything I hear that's negative. So, oh, you're gonna have brain surgery. I try to twist them like, wow, I can get brain surgery. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Like I can. I'm not in a country where that's not an accessible resource.
Hmm.
Um, so I just try to paint every picture in a brighter light than how it presents itself.
Yeah, I think that's a great outlook on life, and it certainly helped you through. I mean, what could arguably be a very tough 2020 for you.
Not too tough though.
Yeah.